I got a sneak peek at Tilta's upcoming autofocus adapter at CES 2026, and a lot of people are going to be excited about this one. Those awkward LiDAR sensors may soon be a thing of the past. What's up? I'm Royce, and welcome to my channel where I talk about all things film and tech. And today I'll be going over my first look of Tilta's new autofocus adapter. While at CES in Vegas last week, I stopped by Tilta's booth to check out some gear. Now, front and center were their Chronos iPhone cases, which all looked awesome, and their dope new car mounts. But somewhat off to the side, I saw an FX3 with the anamorphic lens just chilling on their new Boulder camera cart. I figured the setup was just to promo the cart, which it was, but I noticed as I walked around the cart, the camera was actually pulling me in and out of focus. I found this odd because the lens on the camera was an Atlas anamorphic lens, which is a manual lens. I then noticed it had a Nucleus-M focus motor connected, but there wasn't anyone pulling focus, at least that I could see. That's when it finally clicked. It was actually their brand new autofocus adapter hiding in plain sight. Now, the autofocus adapter does just that. The adapter brings autofocus features to any manual lens by pairing it with the Tilta Nucleus-M focus motor. Now, at the time of this recording, there's a bunch of different gadgets that can also provide autofocus to manual lenses. A lot of them do so through attaching some form of LiDAR sensor onto your camera. That sensor then does its own spatial readings and calculations to then send that data to the focus motor attached to your manual lens, like DJI's offerings, which I'm pretty sure most of you guys have either seen or experienced yourself. Or in my case, I've been using PD Movie's version, which the LiDAR sensor is actually built into the focus motor itself. This is their version 3. Their newest one, I don't know if it's out to the public yet, but you can order their most latest one, which is their version 4, which is supposed to be even better. Now, Tilta's adapter works in a more unique way. Instead of relying on an external sensor, it pulls the autofocus data straight from within your camera, and then it sends that autofocus data to the focus motor. So it's your camera that's doing all the work, and the adapter is more like the messenger in this case. The adapter is pulling the autofocus data directly through the electronic pins in the camera mount. It then sends that data through the standard 7-pin cables to either a Nucleus-M2 or Nano 2 focus motor. And how this works actually makes so much sense that it's kind of interesting it's taken this long to even be possible. What's cool too is if you also have the Nucleus focus wheel, there's a button you'll be able to hold down for a quick manual override. So if you want to get a little bit more creative with some rack focusing. And then the moment you release the button, it snaps back to autofocus. And on top of getting a super awesome autofocus system for your manual lenses, you're also just getting an actual Sony E-mount to PL adapter as well. So kind of is a double feature, which is dope. Now, here's why I think this method could potentially be better. With LiDAR sensors, your results are only as good as the sensor itself. Also, placement of the sensor matters. Now, I've only had experience with PD Movie's sensor, and where it's mounted on the camera in relation to your lens affects how it autofocuses. So for example, if the sensor was placed a little too far off to either side, I would then have to overcompensate how I kind of angled the camera to make sure the right thing was in focus. Now, I'm not sure if it's the same with DJI's, but I do know with that one, you need the sensor and their side handle, which depending on your setup can get kind of bulky. So with Tilta's autofocus adapter, you just need to install the adapter onto the camera, attach the focus motor, and you're good to go. And however good your camera's autofocus is how good the adapter will be, which also means the adapter can take advantage of features like tap to focus, which I was able to test myself at CES, or according to a Tilta rep, the face and eye tracking as well, which is awesome. From what I saw and experienced, the autofocus was fast and smooth, just as if it was with a native autofocus lens. Now let's go over some of the downsides. When Tilta's autofocus adapter eventually launches, which is projected sometime either before or at NAB 2026, it will only work with Sony E-mount at first. They've done interviews before saying they're aiming for an RF and an L-mount next, but while at CES, a rep from Atlas told me that they're also eyeing a Z-mount version as well. So we'll have to wait and see what actually happens. This is where LiDAR solutions still have an upper hand since they're not tied to a specific camera mount. Another downside, if you're looking to keep your setup light and compact, you will need to provide external power to the Nucleus-M motor. That will just be another thing you'll need to rig up. And what I really love about PD Movie's autofocus motor is that it has a removable internal battery that lasts a pretty long time. So since the sensor is also built into the motor, that's all you need for this whole setup to work. Just this guy right here. Now let's talk about price. The autofocus adapter on its own is looking to be under $300, and the full kit, which will be the adapter and one of the focus motors, will go for under $500. And as of now, they're still aiming to launch before or at NAB 2026. I think Tilta for sure has something that could potentially be game-changing. I'm also aware of Viltrox's adapter, which aims to accomplish the same thing, which just goes to show this may be the new standard to get autofocus on manual lenses in the future. It's safe to say the landscape in the indie filmmaking space has gotten really interesting and honestly a lot of fun. We have so many tools now at our disposal, so many great options for cameras, lenses and just gear overall that there's really no more excuse to go out there and shoot something dope. And with a lot of advancements that we've seen in this space, I don't think it's really meant to take away from anyone's job or anything like that. So all you focus pullers, don't worry, y'all are still good, you're still great, you're still legendary. It's just another tool out there to make things just a little bit easier for us. But what it does do is open up a conversation, because we have seen more cinema lenses come out that actually have autofocus capabilities. So will it make sense to these companies down the road to keep investing money and time into having autofocus in these cinema lenses, or just rely on these adapters as they come out? Of course, having autofocus built into the lens is convenient in the sense that you don't have to have any additional thing attached or mounted onto your camera. But it will be interesting to see how Tilta's adapter and adapters like it affect the space moving forward. And that's it for this video. I hope you found it helpful. If so, please like and subscribe to the channel to see more content like this. Also, drop your thoughts on Tilta's autofocus adapter down in the comments. I'm eager to hear all your guys' thoughts on it. And until next time, I'll catch y'all later.